What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with my weekly recap, breakdown, and review of the latest episode of Apple TV Plus C Season 2, and today we're discussing Episode 4, which is titled The Witchfinder, an episode in which we get a family reunion, but at the same time, that same family has been growing further apart. We're breaking it all down here in this spoiler review, but before we do so, make sure you're checking me out on all my other social media accounts. If you all are new to the channel, well, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. That way you all can get the alert from when I drop new content. If you all enjoyed this spoiler review, well, make sure to like and share this review. It helps out the channel so much, but I also appreciate all the support. And in those comments, let's break this fourth episode down together, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about your pros, your cons, your thoughts on no action at all in this episode, but also more character development, more quieter moments, more in-depth conversations amongst our characters. Let's talk about those as well. And of course, is Queen Kane making her way to her nephew? Let's talk about it all in the comments below. So just my initial thoughts on this fourth episode. I'm okay without the action. Of course, I love the action because it's some of the best out there, but I love, and this is what I love about this second season so much more than I do in the first season, when we had those more quieter moments in season 1, I just didn't feel like it was as fleshed out and as developed as I would have liked. But in this season, when we get a non-action driven episode, I love the quiet moments with the Witchfinder, his PTSD and his demons coming to a front. I love the stuff that we get with Kofun and his mom, and just a continuation from their rift and his thoughts on his mother, especially now thinking that she's a liar, and just all the stuff. We get a returning character that we'll talk about, and obviously the stage is being set for this all-out war. So I really enjoyed the writing, the development. I didn't care that we didn't have any action because I felt like the character growth was more of a priority than what the action can sometimes be in this season. So I've really enjoyed this season so far, and I really enjoyed this episode. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did you miss the action, or did you feel like it was okay to get a more quieter, character-driven episode? Let's talk about it in the comments. So let's break it all down as we open up with the two sisters having a discussion about Maghra's role in this arranged marriage. We catch up with Baba and the Witchfinder and Charlotte and Paris and Hanawa as they make their way to Pensa. But let's transition over to Ito. Now, he wasn't as heavily involved in this episode, but we see very early on that he comes across a Witchfinder who used to serve the queen, and this is where he learns the news that Kofun and Hanawa are a part of the royal family, which means that they can have more of an advantage since they have sighted people on their side. And we all know, if you have sighted people on your side, the control and the power is in your path and in your way. So he's not a fan of learning about that news. But speaking of Kofun, let's talk about him in this episode. As him and Toad arrive to Pensa, and immediately he learns the news that his mother, that he the emotional roller coaster of these characters. He's been thinking his mom's been dead. Now he learns that she's alive. He's about to see her, but then he learns immediately that she's marrying a new man, and they have their reunited moment, which was nice to see. But I don't know, man. Let me know in the comments, and this is just a me thing versus a show thing, but the aging up of Baba Voss and Jason Momoa seems more like believable than Maghra. And I think that when they first met each other, I think in the show, Maghra's probably like 7, maybe even 10 years younger than Baba Voss. So of course, I think Baba, and let me know your thoughts on their age. I would say Baba Voss is like 47 years old, 48 years old, maybe 50. And I would say Maghra's probably late 30s, early 40s. But whenever Kofun and her are sharing a screen, or whenever she's around her children, she's in real life, she's probably like maybe 3 years older than the actual actors. But in the show, she's supposed to be, 20 years older than them. But I don't know, whenever I see them on screen, it's like she looks like she could be your girlfriend. Neither here nor there. Let me know your thoughts on their ages in the comments. But they get this reunion, which was nice to see. But she talks about the importance of this marriage and why she has to go with this marriage. And I love the little comedy beat from Toad. He's like, I have so many questions. We didn't get any action. We didn't get much Toad or Charlotte, two of my favorite new characters. But again, it's the character moments that we get, and I really like that this episode focused on that. But we get the wedding as it takes place, and it's now official. Maghra and Harlan are now married in front of all the people. So it's now official as Kofun has to see his mom marry this man Harlan, who he hasn't met yet, but hey, it's your new stepdad, so you better get used to him, which is going to be such an interesting dynamic when Baba finds out this news. But we get a returning character, ladies and gentlemen, from season 1, a character I really enjoyed, and that is Bowline, aka The Shadow, making her way back on the show. I think it's so great that she's back because Baba's going to need as much help as he can when he goes against his brother, who will eventually get his army in this war that we'll talk about here in a second. But let me know if you all are a fan of Bowline, if you're excited that she's making her return back in this season 2. But let's go back to Kofun. This is a very important moment here in this episode as he meets his auntie for the very first time. And listen, I already knew as soon as I saw this, I'm like, dude, she is going to pursue her nephew and try to manipulate him. And we all know Kofun's a very weak-minded individual. She's going to manipulate him and get him on her side. And so much so, I think she's going to seduce him and potentially try to seduce him to get that sighted baby that she wanted to have with Boots. Didn't work out. But hey, my nephew is sighted. He's taller. You know, she compliments him and she even kisses him. Listen, I'm telling you right now, and Queen Cain has all of this, again, the Cersei-isms in her. And we know what Cersei and incest and what the Lannister family did. I wouldn't be surprised if she makes her way to her nephew and tries to make her nephew impregnate her for she can get that sighted son or that sighted baby that she's been boasting about and telling everyone that she wants to have. So let me know your thoughts on that, because I think that's a very pivotal scene. And we'll talk about him talking about his auntie a little bit later to his mom. But want to touch on the title of this episode, which was titled Witchfinder, as we see him going through this PTSD as he is in the land of the people that despise him. He's killed people on the land that now has, Bowline as a healer, and just seeing him going through this and his past sins and all the people he's killed, I thought that was so important to that character, because I think this is just foreshadowing, me just kind of predicting in the future, maybe this season or later season. I think that eventually the Witchfinder is going to have himself be sacrificed to protect, whether it's Hanawa or Kofun or Baba Voss himself or Bowline. I think inevitably this show is going to try to make him out to be this good guy. Again, I always compare this show more recently to Game of Thrones. They're going to try to Jaime Lannister him. That's someone we've hated for the longest time, but as the show and the episodes and the seasons go by, he becomes a fan favorite. So I think that's what the show is trying to do, is make us see him in a different light, because we'll talk about his tragedies in a little bit here. But I like the moment here that Baba, when he's walking into the tent and Baba grabs him and says that his punishment is to live with the decisions that he's made in his past. A really good line there and a really good moment between those characters. But a very another important scene, a very huge moment and a huge mistake by Maghra, as she is under the impression by Kofun that her daughter Hanawa is imprisoned and that they need to save her. So she sends Harlan's brother to go get her. I think that it's not going to work out, because the brother's like, I go to that land all the time. I'm never captured, so I'm going to go ahead and save your daughter. We all know Hanawa's not there, right? So I think when he goes there, they're going to capture him, and they're going to take that as a sign of war. They're going to think that Queen Cain has sent this spy to infiltrate their situation, gather resources, gather information for their army, and they're going to probably kill them. Harlan's going to be upset with Maghra. At the same time, it's going to start off this war. That's my thoughts of how this war is going to get started, because Maghra unfortunately is making this signal that makes it seem like they want to begin war. So let me know your thoughts on that. But let's go back to Bowline as she learns that the Witchfinder is there. She wants to kill him. Paris stops her, but she's like, you are betraying me. Your loyalty is no longer anything to me. You're protecting the Witchfinder. He's killed all the people that we've loved. And she's like, we need him. He's a new man. He's a new purpose. And she's like, well, I don't want to hear it. I need you guys out of here by daylight. I think she's going to eventually Witchfinder and is going to make amends with everyone. I think right now, Bowline, she has every reason to want to kill him, but I think eventually they're going to end up teaming up when we have that final battle. And again, he might sacrifice himself to protect Bowline. We'll see what comes of that. But going back to another pivotal moment, as I said, the family's kind of growing apart. And this has been actually planned in season 1. We get a scene between Kofun and his mom, Maghra, continuing from last season, as he believes that she's jealous of his sight and him reading the books. And we know that's from season 1, so there's a little bit of legitimacy there. But he believes that this has kind of clouded her judgment. And he believes his mother to be a liar. Like, you're marrying this new man. You betrayed our family. So there's a civil war growing within this family. Who knows, again, again, this is Kofun as he talks about his auntie not being a liar and telling the truth. I think we might see Kofun make his way over to the dark side, per se, and again, embrace his auntie and maybe take up her, which I think she's going to approach him and say, hey, you want to have a baby and leave your family aside and create your own legacy? I think that might be something that might happen down the road. But as we wrap up the episode, Queen Kane, we learned that the Witchfinder killed his wife and kids, which is just, again, just the show's letting you know this guy has a heart. He has a past. Try to forgive him. Try to make him a hero. But he's killed so many people, he can't even remember the faces of his own family. As Paris tells him that maybe it's time to fight for the light, and he's just talking about, well, you should let Bolin kill me. And she says, well, you'll have plenty of opportunities to die, which I think, again, this is foreshadowing for him sacrificing his life for one of our main characters later down the road. But wrapping it up, as they're making their way to Pensa, and Baba Voss is telling Hanawa, she's like, oh, it's going to be so exciting to see Mother. You think she's going to be the same? And Baba's like, yeah, this is Magra. She's going to be the exact same person we knew when we last saw her. Sorry to tell you, Baba Voss, but your wife is married and she is making alliances to protect her family, but it's not going to seem that way when he gets there. So that's going to be one awkward family reunion, as he's like, hey, Magra, I missed you. Oh, by the way, Baba Voss, this is my husband, Hanawa, this is your stepdad. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how all that plays out. But again, I really enjoyed this episode. No action. I'm okay with that because, as I mentioned several times in this video, it's the character development. It's the return of Bolin. It's the alliances being built. It's the alliances being separated. It's the family having conflict. It's the civil wars within the family. It's just all this stuff which is just making this season so rich, so developed, and just so worth my time and breaking it down. I love this show. I seriously mean it. This is one of the most underrated shows on TV. I'm so glad I'm breaking it down. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying it with me, going on this journey with me, because this show is fantastic. And this fourth episode is just continuing that momentum. And man, I can't wait to see what next week's has up his sleeve. But that's just my thoughts on the episode. Let me know your thoughts, your pros, your cons, your thoughts, your theories. Is Queen Kane going to try to sleep with her nephew? What will be the conflict when Magra sees Baba Voss for the first time? Will the Witchfinder sacrifice himself? Let's talk about it all in the comments. If you stuck around to the point in this review, I appreciate every single one of you all. Before you leave, make sure to like the video, share the video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell. That way you don't miss any of my other content. As you can see on the screen now, check out this video, check out this playlist. Thank you all for watching this review. Hope you're staying safe. We'll see you in the next video.